everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet these simple and fun mug rugs or coasters, whichever you want to call them. And I thought it would be fun to do something simple and cute for 2021, just in case you're having a few guests over for a party, or maybe it's just for you and your family. You can make these and use them as coasters, as I said. You could also add a ribbon and hang it up if you want to. It's just fun to put 2021 on a coaster for your New Year's Eve celebration. The mug rug or coaster measures about 7 inches across, so it's nice and long, and it's about 4.5 inches tall. It's a perfect size, of course, for your favorite mug, but it also fits perfectly with your wine glass for toasting in the new year. Now, you can find this free crochet pattern along with the graph that you're going to need. You'll find those on my blog, and as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make our 2021 coaster or mug rug, you're going to need some yarn, of course. This one is made with acrylic yarn that I had on hand, just some white and some blue. This one is made with cotton, this white sparkly and kind of a cranberry sparkly out of cotton that I had on hand. So you can use any yarn that you have on hand as long as it's a medium weight number 4 yarn. I've got some variegated blue and some white that I'm going to be using for our demonstration today. I'm going to use the blue for the main portion of the coaster and then use the white for the numbers and the trim. All right, so you can get in your yarn stash and put any colors that you want together and come up with some really cute coasters. We're going to be stitching today with an H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need your scissors and then you'll need a needle just for weaving in the ends. Now, as far as the graph, again, as I stated earlier, you can get this from my blog, and that blog link is in the notes under the video. But I'm going to walk you through the whole thing, so you don't really need the graph in order to follow the video, but it can help you out as a visual. It's a basic and simple graph, and I think you're really going to enjoy learning how to use it. We're going to be following the graph, working from the bottom up, and we're going to be stitching in single crochets. We'll begin by chaining 25 chains because we're going to be using 24 stitches. And we'll work back and forth. I'll explain to you how to change colors and how to keep track. And you're going to find it's really quite easy to stitch up using single crochets. Now I have my red marker because as I work, I'm going to put a little line there just to keep me on track of where I'm at on my graph. All right, so we're going to need 24 single crochets. So we're going to begin with our slip knot. Scoot this out of the way. And we're going to chain 25 chains. And I do recommend that you don't chain this initial chain too tightly because we're going to be stitching in it, of course. And we don't want the bottom of our coaster to pucker in. All right, so we're going to chain 25 chains. I've chained my 25 chains. We're going to go ahead and move the graph out of the way. We're going to begin by stitching our single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Here's our first one, so we're going to go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. And now we're just going to stitch one single crochet in each of those chains across. Now we began in the second chain from the hook and we chained 25, so we're going to have 24 single crochets. And that's the number that you're going to need to have on every row is 24 single crochets. So we'll continue working across, stitching 1 single crochet in each of our chains. So we stitched our 25 chains, we turned, we stitched 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each stitch across. So that gives us 24 single crochets. And this is my row right here of my single crochets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and turn. I'll again move my graph out of the way. We're going to begin by stitching in the first single crochet. Our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So we'll go right in our first single crochet and stitch a single crochet. And now what we're going to do is just stitch 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. One single crochet in each of our single crochets across for row 2. I've stitched that row of single crochets in each of the single crochets. Again, I have 24 single crochets. So here was the first row, and now I'm going to mark it over here because we went this direction. All right, so here was our first row of single crochet. We single crocheted across, chain 1 and turn, and single crocheted across here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this for 2 more rows till we get up here, and we're going to have 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each single crochet, still working in our color 1 or our first color. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to repeat row 2 2 more times to get us up here, so we have 4 rows of single crochet. I have completed those 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each single crochet across, chain 1 and turn. And that's these 4 rows that we talked about. And this brings us over here. We're going to be following this row next. So what we're going to do is we're going to be bringing in our second color. I'm going to leave this so you can see that row. All right, so it shows that we need 2 single crochets because each block, of course, equals a single crochet. So we're going to stitch our first single crochet. Then we're going to begin our second one. And when we change colors, we bring in our next color and finish that single crochet. And the reason that we do it this way is if I would have gone ahead and finished in blue, I wouldn't have a complete one in white. All right, let me show you. Here's my, actually we're only going to do 1 stitch. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to bring our blue back in and complete the next stitch. And that gives us 1 solid white single crochet. All right, let me show you what would happen if I went ahead and completed my second in blue and then went in and did my next stitch in my next color. And what happens is the loop from the previous row is on my stitch with the white, and of course that's a little bit loose, but it would not be a complete stitch. Okay, so even if it's just 1 stitch, we want to finish it with the next color that we're changing to. So I need 2 blue and then 1 white. All right, so here's my second blue one. I'm going to bring in my white and finish that single crochet. Make sure you snug everything down. And I'm only doing one stitch in white, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to pull up my white. Try this again because that got caught in the way. There we go. And now I'm going to bring my blue back in and finish that stitch. Snug everything down. And what we're going to be doing as well is stitching over the yarn that we're not using at the time. All right, so I have 2 stitches in blue and 1 in white. Now I need 3 in the blue. So I'm going to go in and stitch 1, and I'm stitching over the tail of yarn I'm not using. 2, here's my third one. I'm going to finish it with the white. And here I need 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm going to stitch 1, 2, and again I'm stitching over the blue yarn I'm not using right now. There's my third one. Now I'm going to begin the fourth, finish it with the blue, snug it down, and now I need 1, 2, 3 in the blue. 1, 2, 3, finish with the white, and I need 2. 1, finish with the blue. I need 1, 2, 3. Bring in the white. Now I need 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my fourth. I'm going to finish with my blue, and then I have 2 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and drop my white and stitch those last 2 blue stitches, 1 and 2, and go ahead and chain 1. Now let me lay this out here so you can see. See how that works? 2 blue, 1 white, 3 blue, 4 white, 3 blue, 2 white, 3 blue, 4 white, and 2 blue. Now this is the front of my work. When we turn, we're going to be working from the back. And so it's very important that you always drop your stitches, or not your stitches, your tails of yarn to the back. And the way to remember is when you started where you brought your white in, you're going to have a tail of yarn, and that will help you remember that that's the back side of your work. I've chained 1 and I've turned, and now I'm working on the back side of my work, and we're going to be working back this way. All right, so we have 2 blue single crochets to begin with. We're going to bring our yarn to the back, pull in that white one, and we're only going to stitch 1, so we're going to bring that up, pull the white to the back, and grab that blue and finish that stitch. All right, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches in blue, and we're going to stitch over that white tail of yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to count again just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we're going to bring our blue yarn to the back. Grab that white. Now we're going to stitch 1 white. Bring our blue back in. We're going to stitch 2 blues. 1, 2, and then we'll bring the white back in for 1 stitch, which is right here, and now we have 2 in the blue. And this is where it can be a little bit complicated because you're switching back and forth quite often. 1, 2, now we have 1 white right here. And then we'll switch back to our blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have 1 white, so we'll bring in the white and finish with the blue and stitch the last 2 blue stitches. 1 and 2. I stitched those last 2 blue single crochets, making sure my yarn stayed to the back of my work. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. All right, so we've done this row. There we go. And now we're going to be working back across this row. All right, I'm just going to work it and let you see how I do it. All right, so again, we need 2 blues. Changing to the white. 6 blues after we change back to the blue. Finishing off that last stitch with the white, 1 white, going back to the blue, 2 blues, so 1, finishing with the white, and we've got 1 white, going back to the blue, 2 blues. Whoops, got to finish that second one because we've got 1 white. All right, let's see, this is where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blues. Here's our 5th one. We want to switch back to our white. Stitch 1 in the white and finish off with the blue and stitch 2 single crochets and chain 1. And you can already begin to see how our letters, I should say our numbers, not letters, are forming. All right, so now we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to move back across this way. All right, so this is where we went. And now we're going to go to this row. All right. All right, so we chained 1. We're going to turn. And remember, your strings might get just a little bit twisted, and you may need to untwist those as we work. All right, so we're coming this way. We're going to stitch 2 single crochets, 1, 2. We're going to bring our string to the back because this is the back of our work, and we're going to bring in our white, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4 whites. So 1, 2, 3. Here's our 4th. We're going to bring in our next color here, and we need 2 blues. So 1, 2, we need 1 white, so we'll bring in our white, bring it to the back. There we go. 2 blues. 1, 2. Switch to our white. Stitch only 1 white. Switch to our blue. And now we're going to stitch. Whoops, got to stitch over it. There we go. 2 blues, so there's 1. And switch back to our white. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring our white back over. Bring in our blue. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish with our white. 1 single crochet in the white yarn. Finish with our blue. And 1 and 2 single crochets and chain 1. Now remember, this is our back, so we're going to turn it over. And now it looks like little C's. We've got this portion done of our 2's, half of our 0, and half of our 1. All right, let's go ahead and do the next row. So we want to make sure we mark that off so we don't get confused. Take my pen so I can see where I'm at. Just some little helps that help me. All right, so now we're working this row. So we're going to begin with those 2 single crochets in our main color, which on mine is blue. We're going to change to the white. Do 1 stitch in white. Change to the blue. And now we're working on the front of our coaster. All right, so we've got 3 blues. 1, 2, 3. We're going to just have 1 white. Switch back to our blue. We have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to switch to our white. 1 in the white. Switch to our blue. There we go. 2 in the blue. 1 in the white. 2 in the blue. 1 and 2. And we got 1 in the white. And now we're going to just stitch blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and chain 1. And you can see I am going to need to untwist my yarn a little bit for the next row. But you can also see on our coaster the 1 and the 2 and the 0 and the 2 emerging. Isn't it cute? So now we've chained 1, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to be working on the back side of our work again because we're going to be working this direction. All right, we just have 2 more rows of our numbers, and then we can do our solid rows and add our trim. So we're going to begin here and stitch 5 of our background color, or our blue. And remember, we're stitching in all single crochets, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll bring our blue to the back and grab that white. Finish that stitch and stitch 1 single crochet. We'll bring it to the back, grab the blue, and finish that single crochet. And now we have 2 in the blue. 1, 2, 1 white, 2 blue, and 1 white. We're still working on our 0 there. There's the 2 blue and the 1 white single crochet. All right, so now we're going to stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there of the blue. Get in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch to the white and stitch 1 stitch in the white. Then we have those 2 this time instead of 3 to make that little bump on our number 1. There we go. So then we're going to have 2 of those white stitches. Finish with our blue. Make sure we pull that white to the back and stitch those last 2 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're back on the front of our work. So I marked this row that we completed, and now we just have 1 more row of switching colors. All right, and we're on the front of our work again. We're going to stitch those 2 single crochets in our background color. Oops. We're going to finish that single crochet, of course, because we just have 1 white. Then we'll bring our blue back in and stitch 3 of the blue. 1, 2, 3. Finish with the white. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 to finish up the top of our 2. There we go. Got a little twisted. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll finish that crochet stitch, that single stitch, with our blue. And now we have 1, 2, 3 of our blue. 1, 2, 3. Finish that single crochet with the white. And we have 2 white ones at the top there to finish our 0. So there's 1 and 2. Alrighty, but I finished that with the white, which doesn't need to do that. We need to finish it with the blue. All right, so now we have 3. 1, 2, and 3. Bring in the white. There we go. Now we're going to stitch these 4 right there at the top of our other 2. Number 2, I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finish that one with our blue and stitch our last 2 single crochets on this row and chain 1. And now you can really see the numbers, the 1, the 2, the 0, and the 2. And at this point, I go ahead, I leave a little bit to weave in, but I go ahead and cut off that white or the number color. We're going to bring it back in for the trim, but we go ahead and cut it off here. We've cut off our color 2, which is our numbers. We've left attached our main color, which is my blue here. And what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 4 rows, just like we did at the bottom when we started. All right, so chain 1, turn, and we're just going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. I completed that row of 1 single crochet in each single crochet across, chain 1, and turn. And so what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this 3 more times, so we have 4 rows of single crochet at the top, like we do down here at the bottom. So 1 single crochet in each single crochet across, chain 1, turn, till you have 4 rows of single crochet in your color 1. I completed those 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each single crochet across, so I have 4 rows of single crochets. I'm going to go ahead and cut my main color and bring back in my second color. Now you could use a third color if you want to. All right, so we're going to bring it in. There we go, and we're going to be turning our work and working down the side. We're going to single crochet right in that corner. There we go. Snug everything down. There's my single crochet. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to slip stitch right in that single crochet. Then we're going to stitch 2 single crochets. And this is going to form that little bump. Let me bring this down. So you're going to have a single crochet, a picot stitch, and 2 single crochets. And you're going to repeat this working down the side. All right, so we're going to single crochet, chain 3, and then slip stitch in the top of that single crochet. And then stitch 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And you want to do this till you have 6 of those picot stitches, and make sure you end with 1 in the end. All right. So we're going to single crochet, and when you're working down the side, try to go in those sides of those stitches and not the holes. There we go. And now 2 more. 1, 2 single crochets. Then we'll go in the next stitch. Single crochet, 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch in the top, and then 1 and 2 single crochets. All right. Now we're going to single crochet in the next. 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch. Now we're going to try to get 2 more single crochets in the end here. There's one. There we go. Two. And then we want to stitch one single crochet right in that corner and stitch a picot stitch. So chain 3, slip stitch in the top of that single crochet, and now we're going to turn our work and single crochet in that same stitch. All right, so what we're trying to do is get 6 picot stitches across. And now we're just going to stitch one single crochet in each of those stitches across. And this is the side where we started with our beginning chain, so we have stitches to stitch in, which makes it nice. So one single crochet in each of those chains where we started across. So we've stitched a single crochet in each of those stitches across, and now what we're going to do is repeat on this end what we did on this end. So we'll place a single crochet in that first single crochet where we just stitched and stitch our first picot stitch. So chain 3, there we go, slip stitch, and then we'll stitch 2 single crochets working in the sides of our stitches. All right, now we'll stitch another single crochet and chain 3, slip stitch, and stitch 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Then in the next one we'll stitch our picot stitch, chain 3, slip stitch in the top of that single crochet, and then single crochet 2 more stitches, stitch 1 more, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the top, there we go, slip stitch in the top of that single crochet, and then stitch 2 more single crochets, and then 1 more single crochet and picot stitch. And then 1, 2, and 1 right in the corner, and 1, 2, 3. There we go, and our last picot stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so now the last thing we need to do is just stitch 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. So we'll put 1 in that same corner, and then 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. One single crochet in each stitch across. I'm going to cut my yarn and join to that single crochet where we started, and then pull that loop, there we go, to the back of our work, and tie that off to the back. All right, this is how the front will look. And then we have a little bit of weaving in to do back here, and we'll just use our needle and weave those ends in and tidy up our mug rug coaster. And so here's the one we just did together, all tidied up, the blue and white one, the cream and cranberry, and now this one that's blue and white as well, all ready for our 2021 New Year's Eve celebration.